That's about the biggest safety concern you can have driving from a truck. The frame might look a little bit rough right now, but thankfully it is all just on the surface. This is going to keep it from getting any deeper. Less is definitely more with this stuff. It's only going to take us about a half a quart to do this entire frame. So if you get a quart or more, you're definitely going to have some left over for other projects down the road. The reason we didn't fully strip this frame is because POR stands for paint over rust. You're not going to have anything to worry about once this stuff cures. Well, with all the frame coating that we can do for right now finished up, it's time to move into this interior. Now, as you can see, we've already got it mostly gutted with the seat, the gauges, and all the dash components out. Wiring's almost out of here. So all that's really left is these layers of floor mats, and more importantly, this old fuel tank. The fuel tank is one of the most important things to inspect when you buy an old car or truck, because you never know what kind of sediment or rust buildup you have in it. And that is the last thing you want running through your fuel system. Now, replacing this tank is a pretty easy choice for us because when we pulled the seat out, it hit the tank and put not one, but two holes in it because it is full of rust on the inside. And I think I know why. Because instead of gas, it's full of water, just like the engine and transmission. So we're going to get this out of here and get a new one in. Swapping out our old fuel tank label-wise is not going to be that big of a deal. In fact, it's a fairly easy and straightforward process. However, finding an OE replacement 1957 to 64 F100 fuel tank, well, that was a whole different headache in itself. Luckily, the guys at Dennis Carpenter not only had a new tank and steam unit in stock, but they had a bunch of other restoration reports that we will eventually need to finish out the project. Now, some people may be cringing at the idea of us putting the fuel tank back in the cab of the truck. Totally get it. This is basically an 18-gallon bomb cruising down the highway there. The solution to that is to relocate the gas tank back to the rear section of the frame. It's actually what we did on our old 1964 Ford flatbed that was built by Siemens. Relocating your fuel tank has many benefits. However, it can come with its own set of obstacles, including having to replumb your entire fuel system, not to mention welding out that giant filler neck hole there on the driver's side. At the end of the day, Quinn just wants the whole truck back exactly the same way we remember it. So for right now, we're going to get our OE style tank slapped in there, get this thing one step closer, and get back on the road. Coming up, our flooded out Ford gets a shocking upgrade. left to finish up this fuel tank is to get our sending unit wire hooked up. But with the fact that the truck has been flooded and this wire is just really old in the first place, it's probably a good idea to replace it. We know that there's been water in here, and that can lead to shorts, blown fuses, and it's also a fire hazard. So replacing your wiring on something this old, especially if there's water damage, is one of the best ideas that you can have. Instead of buying a whole bunch of wire, connectors, and other supplies, and spending all the time to build this furnace out from scratch, we went and found this American Auto Wire Classic Update Series wiring kit at Summit Racing. Now, this is a complete kit that comes with everything you need to rewire your entire truck front to back. It also comes with its own fuse block that's going to allow us to update to blade-style fuses rather than the original plastic. And every single wire in this kit is labeled, so even if you're still a beginner and learning, this is going to be the easiest, safest way to make sure you get this done right. Now, the first step to getting this installed is going to be mounting this fuse block exactly how American Auto Wire recommends. Depending on your build, you might have some unnecessary wires in a kit like this, but make sure that you read the instructions and the labels before you start cutting. The wiring is coming along pretty good so far, and I've got the interior mostly buttoned up, so I've moved out here to the engine bay to start getting some of this stuff running. Now, a lot of it can't be terminated until we get things like the engine and the lights actually put back onto the truck, but that's okay, because we can at least get the wires close to where they're going to live once all that's done. Now we're going to need to take care of these screws that we used on the inside to mount the fuse block and a couple of wiring pumps. And not only is this going to keep you from getting your hands all cut up, but it's also going to make it look and blend in a lot better with this fresh black paint. With all those capped off, we got one more thing we need to do before we can start gluing these wires together, and that is fill in this hole right here. The best way to do that is with the grommet. But with the wires already being run, we can't slide one over, so we're going to have to make some modifications to this to make it fit. We're going to take a pair of cutters and make a nice clean cut. But this hole itself is a little bit too small for that big old bundle, so we're going to need to trim this rubber off very carefully, work our way around. With that done, we get this put on and move on to getting the wire hooked up. When it comes to wiring up the ignition system on one of these old Fords, and it's about as simple and easy as it gets. Pretty much everything runs along this passenger side inner fender. And I've got a battery sitting in here just for mock-up purposes, so that we can measure how long we need to cut our terminals or run down to the silicone switch, which will run as our primary hub for our entire ignition system. Now, this little guy has 4 terminals. The first one is where you're going to tie in to the positive side of your battery. It's got one just like it on the other side for a hot wire to the starter. On the front here, you can see 2 letters, S and I. The S is where you'll tie into the key hot on your ignition switch, and the I is for the positive terminal on your ignition coil. All of these components have to work in harmony in order to get your engine to fire. But once it is running, it doesn't maintain that electricity. Well, back in the day, these old trucks had what was called a generator. These things were heavy, but they did require one thing, voltage regulator. If Clint wants to cruise down the highway with the headlights on, radio blasting, and the windshield wipers flapping, he'll have this thing to thank. Because basically what it does is it evenly distributes 12 to 14 volts throughout the entire electrical system, so that one component doesn't get overloaded or underloaded. There are some companies out there that offer alternators that look just like generators and are internally regulated. So for you guys at home that like that old school look but want a few more modern conveniences, might be something you look into. But no matter what route you decide to take, first things first, you're going to need an engine. Up next, fire the hole. It's time to see if the spring 6 will turn over.
This comes directly from
the river to carry us along safely. At this point, we then too go with the flow. Once we've become accustomed to being in the flow of the river, we can begin to look ahead and guide our course onward. Thus, flow is absolutely your life's course with little resistance. It is about allowing the course to unfold whilst making conscious decisions about what's ahead of you. And in this video, we will talk
words of Lao Tzu. The ego is entranced by names and ideas. However, names and concepts only block your perception of this great oneness. Taoism teaches us that everything is connected and we are part of a greater whole. That we are much more than our job or our physical appearance, and only when we let go of this false identity given by the ego will we be able to live a fulfilling life. By linking our identity to what we do professionally or the new title we hold, we put ourselves in boxes, and these boxes without being our prison, as we endlessly strive to belong to these identities. If you focus too much upon labels, career titles, and money, when you lose those things, you lose yourself. We need to understand that our name, our positions, our profession, what constitutes our ego, doesn't define who we are. The Tao says that which can be named is not the Tao. As soon as you place a label on someone, you reduce your expectation of others to the expectations that label implies, even if that person is you. Taoism, however, doesn't discourage us from having goals and pursuing them, and instead asks us to not get too attached to the ideas or identities we create, because when we're attached to something, we hold on to it, and holding on to anything beyond its due time means we cannot let go of it, and so we move in opposition to the flow of our life. Many people, for example, go all their lives being attached to the job position they hold. They might have had one of the highest earning and most respected positions in their firm for decades, but their whole world turns crumbling down the day they get fired. This happens because we can't let go of our narrow self-identity. Instead of looking at the unity of all things and how we form part of a greater whole, we end up reducing ourselves to a mere job title or physical trait. We came into the world without any preconceptions. We had no concept of race, religion, or social class when we were born. It is only when we grow older that we come to these things, even believing they define us. We segment ourselves to groups and shun people who don't fit into the same bracket as us. The Tao of things says clear the rules and flow freely in whichever way life takes you. We need to realize that we are already connected to everything in our lives that we think is missing, such as love, happiness, and inner peace. We just have to align ourselves properly to find it. Lao Tzu teaches us that we are like an onion, and we must unpeel the different layers of skin to become free. He says, when I let go of what I am, I become what I might be. Once we become free, especially of the ego and false identities, we find all of the things we've been longing for flowing into our lives in abundance. Number 2, dare not to be first. Lao Tzu tells us that all streams flow to the sea because it is lower than they are. Humility gives it its power. Humility is one of the 3 tools of Taoism, along with compassion and simplicity. In Taoism, humility is translated as the phrase, dare not be first. Taoism teaches us that we all just a small part of the great oneness. We can imagine ourselves as a collection of rivers that are all tributaries to a single stream of water. Despite the apparent separation between the different rivers, they're all connected to the same source. This source is the Tao. If we apply this analogy to our lives, we'll find that much like the individual rivers contributing to that same body of water, we too are all a part of a greater whole, and we're governed by the universal energy common to all of us. In the hyper-competitive rat race we all call modern life, we very much neglect this system. We all desperately wish to be the first one to do something or to go somewhere, but often that is too great a risk. us have earned our keep. Humility, or not presuming to be the forefront of the world, is the only truthful way to relate to the world and to others. It's a weakness. It's not a tool to get what you want. It is reality. There are different ways one can practice being humble. One of them can be taking a walk in the evening and thinking of everyone around you, your family, friends, your neighbors, work colleagues, and so on. Now think about them without the labels or wealth. Consider what issues they may be facing. Some may have ordinary life. Some may be struggling financially. Others may be struggling with addiction. Think of ways you can help them without getting expectations. You can begin to see yourself as part of others' lives. Their problems will become your problems. But, by the same token, their joys will become your joys. Number 3. Let go of your desire to rush things. According to Lawson, he who rushes ahead doesn't go far. We all have those moments of being in the zone, where our actions happen almost subconsciously, and what we're doing just flows with reflection or conscious effort, like a well-rehearsed dance. In Taoism, this paradox of being in sync without any effort is known as Wu Wei, translated as effortless action or non-doing. Wu Wei is not so much about doing nothing, but it's about aligning our movement with the greater flow of life. That is what it means to be in the zone, and one with what we're doing. It's state of profound concentration and flow without any excessive effort or struggle. When we are in the zone, the world around us seems to slow down, and in that space, it is as if we become one with the very thing that we're trying to do. Take for instance the example of trying to fall asleep. Despite our best intentions, the more we try to force ourselves into a state of relaxation, the harder it becomes. Rather, it's much more helpful to simply let go. And you can also get a $10 gift shot when you join my Rewards today. Yes, JCPenney. Feeling happy. Efficiently. It takes extra time and energy to get things and success will instantly come knocking on your door. There is always a necessary process involved which cannot be rushed or concentrated. If you want to succeed, it's your duty to release those impulses and let the Tao do its work. This natural flow of things not only applies to our goals and visions in the professional realm, it literally influences every aspect of our lives. If you want to become better at any skill, there will always be a series of necessary steps that you need to undertake. The most precious things cannot be attained through shortcuts. Of course, this doesn't mean that by passively letting go, everything will fall in your lap. On the contrary, taking action is vital to achieving anything. With your isolation, your actions need to be coupled with an acknowledgement of the natural course of events. Nothing can happen earlier or later than it should have. Number 4. Embrace change. To quote Lao Tzu, new beginnings are often disguised as painful endings. One of the greatest characteristics of water is that it handles all obstacles with the greatest of ease as it flows towards its destination. Water can adapt to any direction, and also is not limited to its one form. It can be sea or ice, thereby offering even more versatility in various applications. Just like water, Lao Tzu says we can also be in harmony with the natural flow of the Tao, the wave of the universe. For Lao Tzu, one of the secrets of being in harmony with the Tao is to accept that living means to be in constant change. Life is like a storybook. It consists of several chapters, each bringing us different lessons and experiences. Unfortunately, our life is also governed by inertia, which makes us take stage in the previous chapter and makes it very difficult to move on from one chapter to the next. We are indeed creatures of habit, allergic to change and stability. We tend to face change with dread and aversion, instead of looking at it as something positive. But as Lao Tzu said, we need to let go of what we were in order to transform ourselves into what we might become. If you've lived in the same country for your entire life, for instance, and suddenly get a job offer that can boost your professional success, but that also means emigrating, it's entirely natural for there to be a part of you that's reluctant to take the opportunity. You're going to want to remain in the warm comfort of your own country, spending time with the same friends and acquaintances, going to the same restaurants and coffee shops, and having the same experiences. Or, for example, if you break up with your partner, you could experience a great sadness, a period of grief which is very difficult to recover from. You may find it difficult to look for another partner, or even get out of the house and meet with your friends. This behavioral tendency takes a blocking vision of things in the long term. It's a sort of emotional myopia that impedes us from seeing how great things could be if we're just willing to turn the page to the next chapter. It is only by breaking out of the chains of our current circumstances that we can unleash the potential for growth. Number 5. Be content with little. Lao Tzu teaches us to be content with what you have. Rejoice in the way things are. When you realize there is nothing lacking, the whole world belongs to you. Among the many things Lao Tzu was interested in, one of the most important to him was the feeling of inner peace and harmony. This, he finds, is impossible to attain when we're concentrated on the things that we don't have. The myriad of material objects and earthly possessions that we think we lack. Considering the age we live in, one where the world of social media and celebrity gossip are particularly prominent, Lao Tzu's sayings on this matter ring truer than ever. In today's day and age, people live stuck at home, scrolling through their sensationalized social media feeds. We've all stumbled across a friend's photo who just happened to come back from a relaxing vacation in Hawaii, or at a massive party having the time of their life. Meanwhile, we're we're lying idly on our bed, wishing we could have similar experiences. What we fail to realize, however, is that even if we attain all those things with certain we desire, we would still end up unhappy. It is our intrinsic nature that makes us constantly and perpetually desire the things we don't have. You might think that by getting $1 million, you'd instantly attain a state of pure happiness. But you would be wrong. The instant you fulfill your desire, a multiplicity of other desires will begin to pop up in your unsatisfied mind. Once you have $1 million, you'll want 10. Once you have 10 million, you'll want 50 million, and so on. This pattern of craving can continue endlessly to craving us as a feeling of satisfaction we so deserve. This is why we must let go of our desire for things we don't have and be content with the things we do. Lao-Tzu advises us to lessen selfishness and restrain desires. Instead of spending so much of your time and energy wishing you could have your friend's expensive car, release your need and desire for those things and focus on what you currently have. Focus on the things that you, more likely than not, are taking for granted and underestimating. Think about the fact that as you watch this video, you have access to pretty much anything you want on the internet, that you are likely well fed, that you enjoy shelter, that you have relatively good health and many other things. It is a natural disposition of ours to turn a blind eye to the things that we already have, and focus solely on the things we wish we could have. You get the life arc of your dreams, for example, but once you're in a relationship with them, you begin to take them for granted. This disposition is endemic. It's virtually synonymous with the human condition. Yet it's something that, with the right principles, we can overcome. As mentioned earlier, we need to realize that we're already connected to everything in our lives that we think we're missing, such as love, happiness, and inner peace. We just have to align ourselves the right way. And one of the ways to align ourselves is to be content with little, appreciate and be grateful for everything we have around us. Number 6. Accept your flaws. In our final quote from the Lao-Tzu of this video, he says, "When you accept yourself, the whole world accepts you." One of the core teachings of Taoism is to let go of the need to fight against our own nature, against our own flaws, and accept ourselves for who we are. According to Taoism, when we learn to accept ourselves, to be tolerant to our flaws and kinder to ourselves in general, when we start to treat ourselves with more understanding and acceptance, the rest of the world will follow. They'll start to treat us better as well. The more we accept ourselves, the more the entire world will accept us. Many times, part of what causes us to obsess over our imperfections and be highly focused on our flaws is the need for approval from others. We think that if we're not perfect and if we don't have everything in order, other people won't like us. And because of this, sometimes we dislike some of our own qualities so much that they end up clouding our view of the world. And this can happen despite the absence of positive characteristics that we might possess. Imperfection abounds everywhere. It's part of our intrinsic nature, that telling ourselves that we would be happier if we could just fix them is not the path you want to go down. So, for example, if you feel you're overweight, instead of tying the value that you place on yourself to your weight, you can simply choose to release the need for control, cease resisting your flaws, and accept yourself for who you are. Choose to love yourself the way you are, and recognize the imperfections that bother you so much. If you're overweight and you start to accept yourself and not focus so much on this, you'll gain confidence in yourself. You'll treat yourself more kindly, and now that you're presenting yourself more confidently and happily, other people will have a better impression of you overall, and they'll generally overlook your extra kilograms. Thus, don't try to differentiate yourself. Of course, you can do it in the center and be mindful about what you need about the result. And it shouldn't be because of what others think of you or for wanting to look good. It should be because of the other benefits of exercising, which makes you feel good. Calorie is made to solve problems, and if your physical appearance or a behavioral trait is a problem and you decide to solve it, you will put a lot of pressure on yourself and will create a lot of negative energy around you, which will be felt by other people, and that is a recipe for disaster. For it only amplifies your negative qualities even more, and makes you suppress your positive ones even more. Whenever you try to resist the fact that you're not as slim as you want to be, or not as rich as your neighbor, your inner turmoil will be let loose. It is therefore imperative upon us to take it all in, and thus to enjoy the smooth flow of your life, making no distinctions between negative and positive, and accept yourself completely. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to check out our 4 philosophies to life playlist, and for more videos to help you find success and happiness using ancient philosophical wisdom, don't forget to subscribe. Thanks so much. I'll be your host until the combat is over. When the victory before you declare the war, in a word, imitate those warlike people whose designs are not known except by the ravaged country through which they have passed. In order to grow, it takes effort to control your tongue and monitor what you reveal. It is much more prudent to tailor your words, telling people what they want to hear, rather than the coarse and unreached truth of what you feel or think. More important, by being unabashedly open, you make yourself so predictable and familiar that it is almost impossible to respect or fear you, and power will not accrue to a person who cannot inspire such emotions. Train yourself in the art of concealing your intentions, master the art, and you will always have the upper hand. Our first instinct is to always trust appearances. This fact makes it relatively easy to conceal one's intentions. Let's talk about how people conceal intentions and fool you. Use decoy objects of desire to throw people off. Support an idea or cause that is actually contrary to your own sentiments but will help you achieve your goal. Use this tactic in the following manner. Hide your intentions not by closing on, with the risk of appearing secretive and making people suspicious, but by talking endlessly about your desires and goals. Just not your real ones. You will kill 3 birds with one stone. You appear friendly, open, and trusting. You conceal your intentions, and you send your rivals on time-consuming wild goose chases. False sincerity. People easily mistake sincerity for honesty. Remember, their first instinct is to trust appearances, and since they value honesty and want to believe in the honesty of those around them, they will rarely doubt you or see through your act. Seeming to believe what you say gives your words great weight. Remember, the best deceivers do everything they can to cloak their roguish qualities. They cultivate an air of honesty in one area to disguise their dishonesty in others. Honesty is merely another decoy in their arsenal of weapons. Bland facial expression. Behind the bland, unreadable exterior, all sorts of mayhem can be planned without detection. This is a weapon that the most powerful man in history had learned to perfect. Noble gesture. People want to believe apparently noble gestures are genuine, for the belief is pleasant. They rarely notice how deceptive these gestures can be. Appearing to belong to a group, the tendency to mistake appearances for reality, the feeling that if someone seems to belong to your group, their belonging must be real. This habit makes the seamless blend a very effective front. The trick is simple. You simply blend in with those around you, and the better you blend in, the less suspicious you become. Remember, it takes patience and humility to dull your brilliant colors, to put on the mask of the unconspicuous. Do not despair at having to wear such a bland mask. It is often your unreadability that draws people to you and makes you appear a person of power. But how do people apply these ways to fool you? Simply bang on an object you seem to desire, a goal you seem to aim for in front of people's eyes, and they will take the appearance for reality. Once their eyes focus on the decoy, they will fail to notice what you're really up to. Politicians use this all the time. Our first historical example would be decoy objects of desire and making a woman fall in love. The Marquis or Marquise de Sévigné was inexperienced in the art of love. He confided in the infamous courtesan of 17th century France they follow a plan over a number of weeks, where the Marquis would be appearing in public, always surrounded by beautiful women in the very places the Countess would be expected to see him. He was supposed to assume an air of nonchalance. This increased the jealousy of the young Countess, who was not sure of his interest in her. One day the Marquis, unable to control his passion, broke from Nigon's plan and blurted out to the Countess that he loved her. After this admission, the Countess no longer found him interesting and avoided him. The whole premise of dating is based on games, wild moves, and being unpredictable. If you display your feelings too soon, it becomes an artless show of passion, a door closed that would never open again. In seduction, set out conflicting signals such as desire and indifference, and you not only throw them off the scent, you inflame their desire to possess you. Another example. Fix my glass, won't be fish for mass. If you want, you can recalibrate my safety features while I sit at home in my comfy pants. That's your you can fix anywhere you want. Hair, safe living place. About wanting peace and considering his true purpose, Bismarck's speech catapulted him to the position of Prime Minister. He later had the country go to war against the Austrians at the right time when he felt the Russian army was more capable and united with Germany. Yet another example, the Duke of Marlborough used this in the Spanish Succession. During the War of the Spanish Succession in 1711, the Duke of Marlborough, head of the English army, wanted to destroy a key French fort because it protected a vital thoroughfare into France. Yet he knew that if he destroyed it, the French would realize what he wanted, to advance down their road. Instead, then he merely captured the fort and garrisoned it with some of his troops, making it appear as if he wanted it for some purpose of his own. The French attacked the fort and the Duke let them recapture it. Once they had it back, they destroyed it, figuring that the Duke had wanted it for some important reason. Now that the fort was gone, the road was unprotected and Marlborough could easily march into France. Once, Henry Kissinger used bland face to win opponents. Henry Kissinger would bore his opponents around the negotiating table to tears with his monotonous voice, his bland look, his endless recitations of details. Then, as their eyes glazed over, he would suddenly hit them with a list of bold terms. Caught off guard, they would be easily intimidated. As one poker manual explains it, while playing his hand, the good player is seldom an actor. Instead, he practices a bland behavior that minimizes real terms, frustrates and confuses opponents, permits greater concentration. Spies use appearing to belong to a group method during the Cold War of the 1950s and 60s. As a sign of glorious, a slew of British civil servants passed secrets to the Soviets. They went undetected for years because they were apparently decent chaps, had gone to all the right schools and fit the old boy network perfectly. So, I've paid close attention to all the feedback I've received from you guys and switched up the reviewing of the book's content to a great point all of that is, what the fuck is that sentence? After an unbelievable board, your rules will see the put all that. I'm not waiting to say. Hey, Sentinelers, and welcome back to another video. Thank you so much for your love and support, enabling us to send your way another book of everyday psychology, lots of support. Have you ever been someone with silent treatment? Or maybe you've been on the receiving end of someone's silent treatment? It feels uncomfortable, right? Thankfully either. George Bernard Shaw once said, the worst sin to our fellow creatures is not to hate them, but to be indifferent to them. That is the essence of any humanity. There are many psychological reasons to explain why you may feel that way, but even more is just how harmful giving someone a cold shoulder can be. Many people believe that giving a silent treatment is a dignified response to an argument, but it's not. It is a form of ostracism. The perpetrator often deflects, evades, suffers, or rejects your input, thus breaking you up completely. Their withdrawal leaves you feeling confused and hurt until you eventually get used to it. According to the professor of psychology, Kathleen Williams at Virginia University, it's a form of passive abuse. It employs the intent to punish someone and thus yields harmful repercussions. Here are 6 reasons why the silent treatment can harm you. Number 1. It dehumanizes the other person. Did you know early civilizations equated ostracization to death because it was interpreted as expulsion from humanity and even expulsion from oneself? We are social beings designed to form and maintain relationships. Social ostracizing, via silent treatment, frustrates these relationships. According to the 1976 study, treating people as less than human also tends to dehumanize the perpetrator. Therefore, being ostracized leads to people feeling less human and seeing the person alienating them as less human as well. Number 2, it emotionally manipulates the other person. If you've been a victim of this silent treatment, have you ever begun to doubt your own understanding of reality? Many psychologists classify the silent treatment as a form of manipulation. It's a way for the perpetrator to maintain control over the conversation or argument. The silent treatment is equivalent to gaslighting in the sense that it makes the person receiving the treatment question what they did wrong. Hence, it's rejection. Do you hesitate to reach out for the hand? Does it feel like there's a good chance of being turned away, or does it make you feel ashamed of the effort? During argument, it's easy to justify a cold shoulder. It might seem like it could be an escalation tactic, but in reality, it's exacerbating the problem. The silent treatment serves to deny a partner's basic communicative needs, and therefore the person on the receiving end may feel rejected, especially if there's a physical aspect to the ostracization. Withholding of physical contact from the spouse or partner make the partner doubt the stability of your relationship. Number 4, it instills the self-esteem issues. Have you begun to constantly criticize yourself? Are you apologizing for every little thing? A cold shoulder is a very active way of demeaning someone and telling them that they're worthless, regardless of the intention. It invalidates their opinions, thoughts, and options. This, in turn, can produce anxiety and reduce self-esteem. A study from the University of Sydney shows that repeated ostracization can lead to the development of depression, eating disorders, and even suicide. Number 5, it produces physical pain. Do you often feel physical discomfort? Scientists have shown that when you experience the silent treatment, the anterior cingulate cortex, a region that distinguishes levels of pain, becomes activated. As a result of some cold shoulder, you may experience digestive issues, headaches, or aches in your back or joints. And number 6, it destroys relationships. Communication has been called the fuel that keeps the fire of your relationship burning. The silent treatment often denotes an inability to communicate and low emotional intelligence. face him.
Although he had acquired taste and never acquired, I found myself laughing to watch Paul 10 half-hour minutes.
Be everywhere.
He played
Smells are so fresh, something new. It's an old thing. Cause it has battery issues, but autos are helpful by the way to realize that. Celebrate free at Auto. Free products with expensive deals. Now for July 27th.
gets back on the gym. Much of the life is
Before you fall in power by Robin Reed, law number 10, infection. Avoid the unhappy and unlucky. You can die from someone else's misery. Emotional states are as infectious as diseases. You may feel you're helping the drug man, but you're only precipitating your own disaster. The unfortunate sometimes draw misfortune on themselves. They will also draw it on you, associate with the happy and fortunate instead. The infected possesses an inward instability and bringing its outward, drawing the disaster to all that they touch. Mary Gilbert, a.k.a. Lola Montez of Ireland, was one such person. Lola found herself in the role of a courtesan, prostitute of the royal court. In today's society, Lola would be considered a gold digger. She only sought out men with high social standing in the community that she could use for her own gain. Once she would have her hooks in these men, their slow demise began. One of her victims was King Ludwig of Bavaria, who felt compelled to help Lola. Yet once he was warned of the dangers of his affair with her, he could not seem to resist Lola's aura and almost found his once peaceful country in a state of civil war. It was not until then that the king finally ordered Lola to leave, but a month after she left, King Ludwig was forced to relinquish his throne. There are many men who suffered because of their association with Lola Montez. King Ludwig said that he was bewitched by Lola. Lola was an unstable, incurable, and infectious character type. This is not to say that these characteristics are only restricted to women. This is to say that there are some people whose emotions are so powerful that they infect the very soul of the people that they touch. How to recognize an infector? They draw misfortune upon themselves. They have a turbulent past. They have a long line of broken relationships. They have an unstable career. They have a forceful character that sweeps you off and makes you lose reason. They have a desire to destroy and unsettle, and is chronically dissatisfied. They have great effect on the world around them. What do you do when you meet one? Don't argue with them. This is part of how they trap you. Don't try to help them. Don't matter what they say. Don't pass the verse on to your friends, or you will become that match. Flee the infector's presence or suffer the consequences. Learn to fear the power of infection. The risk of associating with infectors is that you will waste valuable time and energy trying to free yourself. Through a kind of guilt by association, you will also suffer in the eyes of others. On the other side of the spectrum of infectors are those people who attract happiness through their good cheer, natural buoyancy, and intelligence. They are a source of pleasure, and you must associate with them to share in the prosperity they draw upon themselves. All positive qualities can affect us, but taking advantage of the emotional side of this osmosis may be difficult. Now I put down 5 ways to affect positive change through your associations. If you are misery by nature, associate with the generous and they will affect you. Opening out everything that is tight and restricted in you. Only generous souls contain greatness. If you are gloomy, gravitate to the cheerful. If you are prone to isolation, forces down to refrain the gregarious. Never associate with those who share your defects. They will reinforce what holds you back. One simple example is the meth who tries to break out of the cycle of drugs and still just hangs out with his own friends. It's just a very difficult environment. And 5, only create associations with positive affinities. So the quote Paul Sartre said once again, recognize the fortunate so that you may choose their company and the unfortunate so that you may avoid them. Misfortune is usually the crime of folly, and among those who suffer from it, there is no malady more contagious. Never open your door to the beast of misfortunes, for if you do, many others will follow in its train. Do not die in another's misery. That's it for this thought. If you see more social reviews, you might just want to subscribe. Thanks for watching.
in Morocco, has set outside of there. She grew up.
I think San Martin is everybody really, overall just happy because we're really happy with their vehicle. The 4 Laws of Power by Robert Greene. Law number 26. Keep your hands clean. Be a paragon of civility and efficiency. Your hands are never soiled by mistakes and nasty deeds. Maintain such a spotless appearance by using others as scapegoats and cast balls to disguise your involvement. Conceal your mistakes, have a scapegoat around to take the blame. Our good name and reputation depend more on what we conceal than on what we reveal. Everyone makes mistakes, but those who are truly clever manage to hide them and to make sure someone else is blamed. A convenient scapegoat should always be kept around for such moments. Understanding the workings of power and the importance of appearances, we walk around for the most convenient head and have it served up immediately. Occasional mistakes are inevitable. People of power are undone not by the mistakes they make, but by the way they deal with them. The mistake does not vanish with an apology. It deepens and festers. It's better to cut it off instantly, distract attention from yourself, and focus attention on a convenient scapegoat. Do not give people time to ponder your responsibility or your possible incompetence. The bloody sacrifice of a scapegoat seems a barbaric relic of the past, but the practice lives on to this day, if indirectly and symbolically. Since power depends on appearances, and those in power must see now to make mistakes, the use of scapegoats is as popular as ever. Besides conveniently shifting blame, a scapegoat can serve as a warning to others. Example of Cesare Borgia. Robert Greene took the following right out of Niccolo Machiavelli's The Prince. Cesare Borgia used the scapegoat to gain control of large parts of Italy. He gave New York over with extreme violence, he would enforce Cesare's rule with brutal justice and grow hated by the local population. To guard his own reputation, to avoid being associated with Borgia's gruesome actions, to calm the people's scream for revenge, he publicly stated that he had in no way ordered Borgia to do what he did, and imprisoned, beheaded, and blamed him. Cesare had painted a pleasing picture for the public, who not only wished Borgia's death, but that his cruelty be repaid. Next to his headless body, Borgia's head was spiked up on a pike. To quote Achilles fighting Hector at the temple of Pisaga, "Why would I kill you now, young prince, if no one sees how you fall?" Cesare built a spectacle for everyone to see. Not only can you use others as scapegoats, but you can make them your cat's paw. In the fable, the monkey grabs the paw of his friend, the cat, and uses his paw to get the fish chestnuts out of his mouth, so as to get the nuts without hurting himself. If there is something unpleasant for the unpopular that needs to be done, it is far too risky for you to do the work yourself. You be the cat's paw, someone who does the dirty work for you. The cat's paw grabs what you need, hurts whom you need hurt, and keeps people from noticing that you are the one responsible. Let someone else be the executioner, or the bearer of vengeance, but you only enjoy and lack time. Cleopatra was more than only a woman. She was a queen, an empress, a goddess. Her appearance will never be the same. Only ever recognizes close hands as once. Probably one of the most dangerous seductresses in history. Like many women still today, she used her feminine qualities to get men into action. And it was overflowing vanished like her elder sisters. Beatrice emerged as the leader of the rebellion, had her own sisters imprisoned, and her own husband murdered to secure her own rule. This extreme violence on one of her own made the public resent her, and 4 years later, Ptolemy could return beheading the elder sisters. In 51 BC, Ptolemy died in the West, four remaining children as heirs. The eldest son, the 11 years old Ptolemy III, married the elder sister Cleopatra. It's a common in order to secure positions and thus power in the family. In a fight for power, Cleopatra was exiled, not daring to make the same mistake as burying especially one of their own. It would inevitably shed a light on the murderer. Therefore, Cleopatra bided her time and scheme. When she heard of Julius Caesar's plan to make Egypt a Roman colony, she arranged to see him. So there's using him as a tool to restore her siblings, not to get the throne for herself. Before one received, she would use the same tactics for her. She was able to restore what is very powerful and interesting to her castles, doing exactly what she wanted. And that's a how it is. There's an additional lesson for that to be learned. We cannot reason such as seriousness always by the feminine child. Be wary of your patronizing to their side. Their numbers have grown enormously, while the odds for them to become a Caesar are constantly diminished. As always, thanks for watching.
If police have reasonable suspicion that we were involved in a crime, yeah, they would have been in the game for sure.